Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are in our math, and I want us to, before we get started, I want you to stand up, and I want you to, if it is 50 degrees or warmer outside, I want you to run around your house one time, okay? If it is below 50 degrees, then you can just run around your kitchen table 3 times, all right? So, stand up. But don't forget to pause the video before you go. Pause the video and then let's go run around the school building, or you guys run around your house. All right, now that we have all this fresh air in our bodies, let's go ahead and jump into lesson 2. Our title is Unit Pricing. Okay, and let's jump into our lesson on page 6, and we'll figure out what it means by unit pricing. It asks us a question. It says, which carton of eggs is better to buy? So I have both of these cartons. I attempted to draw both of them up here on the board. My artistic skills are terrible. But, so we want to know which one would be better to buy. Would it be better to buy a dozen eggs for $1.25 or a 6-pack of eggs for 95 cents. So in order for us to figure out which one is the better buy, we have to find the price of 1 unit in each container. So we have to find the price of 1 egg in our 6-pack, and we have to find the price of 1 egg in our dozen carton, okay? So that is how we find our unit price. And how do we do that? How do we find our unit price? If we keep reading, this is how we're going to do it. If you look on the top of page 7, to find the unit price, you need to divide the number of units within the carton by the price that it's sold for, okay? So, for instance, if we look how they did on the top of page 7, you guys can just follow along up here. There's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. There's 12 eggs in our dozen, right? So we're going to take our number of units in our carton divided by how much it costs to figure out how much each egg costs. So we're going to divide, this is not going to be, we're going to divide, I need more space. We'll just do this. Let me pause this. All right, so let's start with our division. We have 12 eggs, and the 12 eggs altogether cost $1.25. So let's start right here. Can 12 go into 1? No, it cannot, right? So we're going to put our 0 right here. We have our decimal point right here, so we're going to place that in our quotient up top. Now, can 12 go into this number, which would be 12? Yes, it can, right? It can go in there once. It fits in there 1 full time. So we have 12 subtracted. Now we have 0, so we have 5. Can 12 go into 5? No, it cannot, right? So we're going to go put our 0 up here. So it's 10 cents, right? Wait. So what we're going to do, notice it says divide to 3 places in order to round to the nearest cent, all right? So here, we're going to add 1 more 0 so we can round it to our nearest cent. So how many times would 12 go into 50? 12, 24, 36, 48. It would go in there 4 times, right? So we have 48. Now we've taken this to 3 decimal places right now. So let's round to our nearest cent. So is this number larger than 5? No, it's not, right? So what would we round it to? It would be 10 cents, right? So each egg in our dozen cost 10 cents. Now, let's jump over to our 6-pack. So our 6-pack only costs 95 cents, but it only has 6 eggs in it. So what are we going to divide 95 cents by? How many units are within our carton? 6. There's 6 eggs, so we're going to divide 95, put our decimal point right there, 95 divided by 9, all right? So let's just go right into that. How many times can 6 go into 9? Once, right? So we can go in there 1 time, subtract it by 6. Now we have 3 left. 6 cannot go into 3, but we're going to bring our 5 down. So how many times does 6 go into 35? 6 times 5 would be 30, correct? So we're going to have to put our 5 here. And then we only have 5 left over. But remember, we're going to round to our nearest cent. So we're going to add one more 0. 6 goes into 50 how many times? 8, right? So we have 8 here. And then 6 times 8 would be 48. We have 2 left over. Now, what are we going to round our nearest cent to? So here is our third decimal place. We're rounding to our nearest cent. So what would we round it to? Each egg in our 6-pack would cost 16 cents, right? Because we would round that up to our 6 and it would be 16 cents. So the unit price per egg in our dozen was 10 cents, and the unit price in our 6-pack was 16 cents. So buying the dozen of eggs would be the better option because the unit price, it's cheaper per egg. So let's read over on page 7, the first sentence. It says, a dozen eggs is the better buy if you need that many. All right, if you need a dozen eggs, definitely get the dozen eggs. Don't buy 2 separate 6-packs. The cost of one unit or item is called the unit price. Many grocery stores display the unit price of various items so you can compare prices. I don't know if you've noticed that or not, but next time you go to the grocery store with your mom, look on the shelves and where the pricing is for an item. There should be up in the little corner somewhere, it should be, say, unit price, and that is usually the price per unit within the container, or something like that, okay? But let's read the last paragraph, okay? And this is just some good basic things for you guys to help use your money wiser. So sometimes the lower price per unit is not more economical. So that means that it's not just because this would be 10 cents doesn't mean it's the better option than this one. And I'll tell you why in this paragraph. It says, for instance, if Grandpa and Grandma use only 2 liters of milk per week, it would not be economical for them to buy a 4-liter container. Even if the price per liter was less, the milk would spoil before they could use the amount. All right, so let's say you guys eat eggs for breakfast, and let's say you only eat 6 eggs a week. You eat 6 eggs a week. So just because each egg is going to be cheaper, if you buy a dozen and it's only 10 cents and you end up throwing out the other 6 eggs that you didn't use, I guess that wouldn't really work because your eggs don't spoil. Never mind that example, but notice if you would buy milk just because it's cheaper per liter doesn't mean it's the better buy because you would have to end up throwing it out because it would spoil. They wouldn't use that much. So just because something is cheaper in unit price doesn't necessarily mean it's the better buy. Only if you're going to be using all of the amount of the larger unit that you're buying. So like if you're using a dozen of eggs, buy your dozen of eggs. If you're only needing 6 eggs, then just buy your 6-pack of eggs, okay? But if you're going to use all of them, then buy the bigger one. That is all for your new part. You guys have questions 1 and 2 that you guys are reading as your story problem. So remember, to find our unit price, we need to take the units within the container and then we divide it by the amount that it costs, okay? So just for instance, we'll do number 1. It says a bag of apples weighs 4 3/38 kilogram. The price is $5.65. To the nearest cent, what is the cost per kilogram? So remember what we have to do? We're going to have to divide our number, which is how much it weighs. It's 4 3/38 of a kilogram. And then what is the price? The price is always going to be our dividend. It's going to go inside our dividing. So for here, we're going to have 4 3/38 of a kilogram, and the price was $5.65. So our price that it costs is always going to go inside our den. All right, that is all for this video. I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you guys later.